Hello, my dear children. How are you all? Okay, so in your science class, we are going to learn regarding the very amazing living things in the world. Very amazing means we are not able to live with these living things in the world. They gives us everything what we want in our life. We need food, we need oxygen, and we need all the facilities that we are getting or we are depending on these organisms for our life. Now you may be understood what are these amazing living things in the world. It is none other than the plants, the greenery of our nature, the plants. So today we are going to learn something more about the plants. I know you may be learned from lower classes regarding some of the features of plants. Today in your class 6 we can learn something more about the plants. Okay, so we will learn the different types of plants. So you might have seen there are very small plants around you. It's like a green meadow. It is grass, very rich greenish color, having very weak stem, but green color stem. The plant full of green color. There will be no dark or the stem is not thick or hard. The very weak stem, green color, and very small plants. So these plants are called herbs. The very good example is grass, herbs. Then there are some other plants, means the size of this much size, and they will be having somewhat hard stem, but not very thick, somewhat hard stem, this much of size, and having many branches. But the branches may start from the base of the plant itself, not from the top. From the base of the plant itself, they will be having the branches. So these plants like our jasmine and rose plant, etc. These plants we can categorize as shrubs. These are called shrubs. Okay, and there are some other plants which are very big, very strong, and they live for many years. They have very hard stem. They are very strong and can live for many years. What we call them it as? They are called trees. They are called trees. You know, there are many trees around you, right? A mango tree or a banyan tree, etc. So three types of plant: shrubs, herbs, and trees. Okay. Now there are some other plants. They are very, very weak. They may not be able to stand erect. So what they will do, they will creep in the ground. They spread in the soil or spread in the ground and grow, and they can flower, they can give fruits and all. Do you know any such plant? Yeah, it is pumpkin is a very good example for that. Melon. So that will be spread over the land and can give flower and fruits to us. So such plants which are creeping on the ground, the creeping plants, these plants are called the creepers. They are called creepers. Why they are called creepers? Because they have very weak stem. They can't stand upright. So they will spread over the soil or ground. They are called the creepers. And there are some other plants which again having very weak stem. They are not able to stand erect. So they need some support. If they are getting a support, some other plants, or if we keep a stick near to that, it will cling on it and climb over that. Such type of plants are there. They are called as they are climbing, we can call them it as climbers. Okay, they are called climbers. This you may be familiar with the climbers. Is it like that bitter gourd or a pea plant? Your house, it may be there. Your parents may be culturing this at home. So they are climbers. They have very weak stem. They are not able to stand erect. So they need a support to grow. So they will cling on the support and grow well. So we could classify the plants accordingly: shrubs, herbs, trees, creepers and climbers. What are the differences? Climbers means they have very weak stem. They need a support to grow. They are called climbers. They will climb on the support. Creeper means again with a weak stem, but they are not able to climb over. What they will do? They will spread on the ground and will grow. And trees means the very big plants, very strong plants and can live for many years. They are called the trees. They are very strong, very hard. Okay, then shrubs and herbs, very small plants and medium-sized plants, shrubs and herbs. Now let's learn the different parts of the plant and how each part of the plant helps it, and what are the functions of the different parts of the plant. Okay, so here you could see a plant. There are different parts for the plant. So we'll start from the very important part called the leaf of the plant. Leaf. So the leaf, the very greenish color part of the plant that helps. You know what is the function of the leaf? It helps in making the food for the plant, not only for the plant, for the entire living world. They are preparing food. Now let's see how this leaf is able to prepare the food. Before that, we have to know which are the different parts of a leaf. So leaf means it is having a stalk-like portion which helps the leaf to attach to the plant. And it has a broad green color part, a broad green color part for the leaf. Okay, so the stem-like portion which is attached to the stem or the plant, this portion is called the petiole. This portion is called petiole, the stalk or the stem of the leaf which is attached to the tree. And it has a very green color broad part. This part is called lamina. This part of the leaf is called lamina. And you may be observed there are many structures like this on the leaf, many lines and all. When we are keeping a leaf in your book for many days, for long days, you could see all the green part has lost and only this structures will remain in the leaf. What are these structures? These structures, so it has a very long portion at the middle and many branches. This long one in the middle is called the midrib. This long one is the middle is called the midrib. And from the midrib it has many branches. From the midrib it has many branches. These branches we can call it as veins. Veins. So this is the part of the leaf. It has a petiole, it has a lamina and it has a midrib, and from midrib it has many branches called veins. What are the purpose of this veins and midrib? It carries the leaf and everything to all parts of the plant and it makes the plant spreading like that. Means that a broad shape is given by this veins. Okay. And this veins, in some leaves it is arranged accordingly. So this type of arrangement, it is not in a particular order. So this type of arrangement of veins is called reticulate venation. Reticulate venation. Venation means the arrangement of veins is called the venation. So if it is arranged in such a way without any particular pattern, we call it as reticulate venation. And in some other leaf like the leaf of a grass and all, these veins are arranged parallel to one another. The veins are arranged parallelly. It has a specific pattern of arrangement, parallel arrangement. So this type of venation we call as parallel venation. Parallel venation. Okay, so what does venation means? Venation means the arrangement of veins. It is of two types, reticulate venation and parallel venation. When the veins are arranged parallel to one another as in grass, it is called a parallel venation. But in many other big trees and all, the veins are arranged not in a specific manner. It is accordingly it is arranged. This arrangement is called the reticulate venation. Now, I told you the way the leaves are helping in making food for the plant and for the entire living world. How it is possible? We know the plants are green in color, that we don't have that green color. That is the very specific feature of the plant which help it to make food. That green color part is called the chlorophyll. It is called chlorophyll. So as the plants are having chlorophyll, they are able to prepare their food. We don't have chlorophyll, so we can't make food. And not only the chlorophyll enough, it needs water. So chlorophyll, water, and also it needs carbon dioxide, which they get from the air. So carbon dioxide. By using these three materials, chlorophyll, water, carbon dioxide, in the presence of chlorophyll, and also it needs the support of sunlight. It needs the support of sunlight because for making something, it needs energy. For making food for us, we need energy. So like that, plants also need some energy to prepare the food. So using the energy from sunlight, water and carbon dioxide combine to form or to make food. The whole process of preparing food by the plants is called photosynthesis. Photosynthesis. Photo means light. Synthesis means making. So, making in the presence of sunlight. That is why it is named photosynthesis. What are the materials used? It needs water, carbon dioxide, it needs energy that get from sunlight, and the chlorophyll helps to catch the sunlight or energy. By using all these, they are able to do the photosynthesis. That happens in leaf. So we can call the leaf as the food factory of the plant, making food, a food factory like our kitchen. It is making the food and it is supplying that food to all parts of the plant. And even it is helping us to get our food. How it is helping? Because the food which is prepared, they will use for their purpose, their growth, their maintenance. The extra food, they will store somewhere. They have to store somewhere. What we will do in our home, we store the food in the refrigerator, sit for some days. So like that, the plants are storing their extra food. Where they will store? They will store the extra food in different parts of the body or different parts of the plant. It may be in leaf, or it may be in stem, it may be in root, or it may be in fruits, anywhere. It can store that extra food. And that stored food we can use for our purpose. Not only we, many other living organisms. Birds are eating fruits, nuts, everything. So all the living organisms are getting food from the plants. Again, there may be some extra water in the plants. So that extra water they have to give out, or they have to give out of the body. How they will release? So that extra water from the leaf they will exchange in the form of water vapor. In the form of water vapor. When in the sunlight the water is getting evaporated and go. And that process means the excess water, expelling out of the excess water in the form of water vapor. That process is called transpiration. That process is called transpiration. transpiration. So what is transpiration? It is the removal of extra water from the plant in the form of water vapor. That is transpiration. Okay, so that's all about leaf structure and functions we learn. Next, let's learn about another part of the plant. It gives erecting posture for the plant. Which is that part? It is the stem of the plant. So this is the stem of the plant. What is the purpose of stem? Stem, we know, it gives a posture. It helps the plant to stand erect. Not only that, we said for making food, it needs water. How the water reaches to the stem? The water from the soil transported through the stem, or the stem conduct water into the leaf. Not only water, minerals also conducted by the stem to the leaf. So water and minerals from the soil is absorbed and conducted, absorbing by another portion, and it is conducted through the stem and reaches to the leaf where the preparation of food takes place. And it gives a posture, or it gives an erecting posture for the plant. Okay, so that is about stem. And in some plants, the stem is capable of storing food material. I told you, when the leaf make food, extra food will be stored in different parts. Stem also able to store food in some type of plants, like a sugar cane. What is sugar cane? From which we are making sugar. So where the food particles are stored in the stem of that plant, and that is from the sugar cane stem we are making the sugar. And even a potato, you are familiar with the potato. We know it is for growing in the under the soil, but it is a stem. Okay, so in some plant the stem is able to store the food material, and that we use. Now let's come to the next part of the plant. It is the root. What is the purpose of a root for the plant? We know, if without root, what will be the condition of the plant? Will it stand like this? No. So it helps the plant to anchor, to fix in the soil. If the roots are not strong, it cannot stay like this. So it helps the plant to anchor in the soil. Thereby it helps in preventing soil erosion when the rain and all comes. Otherwise, if there is no plant and all, the soil will be getting washed away. But if the plants are there, the soil can be cached there. So it can be anchor the soil particles. Okay. Then another function. What is another function? I told you, it need water for making food. So it is transporting by stem. How it is reached to stem? So the roots helps to absorb. It helps to absorb water from the soil. Not only water, minerals also. So from the soil, water and minerals are absorbed by the root, and it conducts through the stem and reaches to leaf. Okay, so root has helping in anchoring the plant in the soil. It helps to absorb water and minerals from the soil. Okay, now and in some plants it helps in storage also. I told stem will storage, and in leaf also it is helping in storage. Now in some plants the roots also helping in the storage of food materials, extra food. Even you know which plants, like a carrot, radish, and even that sweet potato, tapioca, all these are the root parts where the food is getting stored, and that we will use. Now according to the structure, there are mainly two types of roots. So we know root is a part of the plant which is below the ground. All other parts are above the ground. So in some plants it has a main root, and from the main root it has many branches like this, sideways. Okay, so this type of root system means where the plant is having a main root from which many lateral roots or branched roots are there. This type of root system is called taproot system. Taproot system. So what is taproot system? It has a main root with many branches. Then what is the other type? The other type means there will be no main root. From the base of the plant itself, many roots arise like this, small hairs and all. Many roots arise from the base of the plant itself. There will be no main root. This type of root system is called fibrous root system. Fibrous root system. Okay, so there are two types of root system, taproot and fibrous root. Taproot means having a main root with the branches. Fibrous means there is no main root, but the roots are arising from the base of the plant. So taproot and fibrous root. Which are the examples, you know? Taproot means the very big trees. All the very big trees are having this taproot system. Like a mango tree, banyan tree, apple or jasmine, everything having this taproot system. What about fibrous root system? Any example? It is the very best example is our coconut tree. Is having this fibrous root, even grass and all. So this we can compare with the venation. We said the leaf venation. So the plants which are having this parallel venation, all will be having fibrous root. The plants which are having reticulate venation will have taproot system. Okay, so there is a connection between. Now let's study the next part of the plant. The very most attractive, colorful part of the plant. Which is that? This flower. Flower. Now what we have to learn about flower? So you are all very interested with the flowers, right? It is, you can see in various colors, different colors like red, yellow, blue, violet and every many colors are available like for flowers. Now let's see the parts of the flower. So only one part of the flower which is very colorful and very attractive. Why it is very attractive? To attract the insects, so that insects will come and sit over the flower. Which is that attractive part of the flower called? The attractive part of the flower. So that we can call as the petals. The attractive part, the attractive colorful part of the flower is called petals. Okay, it may be either red, yellow, pink, violet or whatever color. Okay, the attractive part. Then when come to the bottom of the flower, what you could see? So this flower is attached to the plant with a stalk like a structure. Okay, then at the base of the flower you can see small green leaf like small structures. Green small leaf like structures are there. It is called the sepal. This part is called the sepal. Why there is sepal for the flower? It protects the flower in the bud stage. When before the flower blooms, it was a bud. What is the color of the bud? It was a green color. So this sepal protect the bud. Okay, the green leaf-like structure. Now comes to the middle part of the flower. What you can see in the middle part of the flower? So if you are removing all these petals, what you could see? You could see a small, long stem-like portion. At the base, it is got swollen, right? So such a part you could see in the middle of the flower. This portion we call as the pistil of the flower. The pistil of the flower. Okay, the middle portion is called the pistil, or we can say it is the female part of the flower. Okay, then along with that you could see many long structures like this. Along with this pistil you could see long structures like this, and these are called stamen. These are called stamen. Okay, so petal, the most attractive, colorful part, and below to that it is small leaf like green color structures called the sepal, and in the middle it has a female part of the flower called pistil. Then many other structures you could see, they are called the stamen. Stamen is the male part of the flower. So pistil is the female part and stamen is the male part of the flower. How this stamen look like, you know? The stamen has a long stalk portion called the filament. This portion is called the filament, and at the end of the filament it has a knob-like structure like this. This is called the anther. This is called anther. So this is the stamen or the male part of the flower. This is the pistil called the it is the female part of the flower. So when we are drawing the pistil, it will be looks like this. It has many different parts, and at the base the pistil got swollen into a bulb like a structure. This is pistil. Okay, so these are all various parts of the flower. What is the purpose of a flower now? You know, it is very attractive. I told you it attracts the insects for pollination, or it turns into fruit. Flowers will turn into fruit. We know there is male part and female part. So later it will change into fruit. Each flower will be changing into fruit. The different parts of this part of the flower will turn into fruit. And from in the fruit there will be seed. Now what may happen? Seed. From the seed a new plant can germinate. A new plant can be produced from the seed inside. And how the seeds are formed? So inside the pistil, if you have cut open the pistil, what you could see? Inside the pistil, you could see small seed or small structures like this. These structures are called ovules. These structures are called the ovules, and the swollen portion is called the ovary. It is called the ovary. So the base portion of the pistil is called the ovary. The base swollen portion of the pistil is called the ovary, and inside the ovary there are ovules. Okay, so later when this after pollination the flower will change into fruit. So the ovary becomes the fruit, and inside which the ovules will change into seed. So what does seed contain? Seed contain a baby plant from which a new plant can germinate. Okay. So I hope it is clear the various parts of the plant. Like we learn about stem helping conduction of materials like water and minerals, and root which helps to absorb water and minerals, which also help to anchor the plant into the soil. Then we learn about leaf, the structure of leaf petiole, leaf lamina, and the veins, two types of venation, parallel venation and reticulate venation. Then what we learn? We also learn about photosynthesis, how the plants prepare food, what are the materials it needs, carbon dioxide and water, and it has chlorophyll, and it takes energy from sunlight for preparing food. That process is called photosynthesis. Now we learn about flowers. Flowers, the most attractive part, which is having petals, sepals, pistil, stamen, ovary, ovules and all. So that will change into fruit and seed, even the fruits acting as our food. So we are eating now different parts of the plant. I told you after photosynthesis, the food getting stored in different parts of the plant. It may be stored in stem like a sugar cane. It may be stored in root like tapioca, beetroot, carrot and all. It may be stored in leaf like a cabbage. It may be stored in flower like a cauliflower. So we are eating that flower, right? It may be stored in fruits like apple, orange, everything. It may be stored in seed like rice, gram, pulses and all. So these are all various parts where the plant store the food material and that we and other organisms take as our food. So I hope it is clear a detailed structure of the plant and the various parts of the plant and the different types of the plant. So with that we complete the lesson. Thank you.